Hello, everyone. I'm Reverend Richard Miner. I'm the Graduate Engagement Officer here at One Spirit Learning Alliance in New York City. And today I have the distinct honor of being here with Reverend Sarah Bowen. Sarah, thank you for joining me.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Sarah, you are a graduate of the seminary class of 2017, and you have recently come on board as one of our first-year deans, and we are so excited to have you as such an important part of our community. Can you tell me a little bit about your story? Tell me a little bit about yourself and what brought you to One Spirit as a student.
Sure. I was working on my first book, and I was taking some classes in religion at various different schools, everything that I could find, anything that was shiny that I would register for and take a class. And I would rush home to my husband, and I would say, "Oh my God, look what I learned, look what I learned." And this was happening for a number of years. And I remember one day I came home, and I guess my husband was full, and he said, "Sarah, I love you and I'm so interested, but you need to go find your people." And I realized he was right. I did. I had all this stuff I was learning and all these things I wanted to share and discuss and talk with people about. And so I started looking for somewhere to have a home. And as luck would have it, I was taking a class actually in the Bhagavad Gita at a yoga studio up here in the Hudson Valley. And the teacher was late one day, and I started talking with the woman next to me about my spiritual journey. She had asked me a question just like you did. And I was sharing, and I said, "I think I'm going to seminary." And it turned out the woman I was speaking with was on the staff of One Spirit. And so that was kind of one of those signals that I got from the universe that maybe I ought to pay attention. And 2 weeks later, I was applying and sitting in class. It happened very, very quickly.
Wow, that's amazing. That's truly serendipity. And we hear that story a lot here, that chance meetings tend to bring people in very, very quickly. Can you tell me what were some of your favorite seminary moments and experiences?
There are so many, but I think my favorite was the first day of class. And I showed up still not quite sure what I was doing there or why or what it was going to look like when I was done. And I remember sitting in the back row by the AV guys because I'm a spiritual rebel who's very comfortable in my ripped black jeans and my boots in the back of the row. And I sat down and I had two thoughts at the same time. The first one was, who are all these very odd people? And the second one was, I have found my people. And I had such a conflicting emotions, really, of, I'm so excited. I'm so nervous. I kind of felt like, I was a little 13-year-old again in some ways. Is everybody going to like me? Is no one going to like me? All those things when you join a new community or when you're sitting with a new community that bubble up, right? But looking back, that was like being on the crest of the top of a roller coaster, right? Like I didn't know exactly what was coming, but I knew it was going to be very exciting and that I was stuck in that roller coaster car with a bunch of really cool people.
That sounds wonderful. Can you tell me, how did the 2 years of seminary impact your life?
I think they changed everything. There are before seminary, my before seminary life and my after seminary life. But I think mostly it just deepened and expanded me, right? Not only in terms of knowledge, but how I show up in the world, my authenticity, my ability to connect with people. It just really took, I guess, what was there and let it out.
That's amazing. So can you tell me now what's going on for you? Can you tell me a little bit about your ministry and what's drawn you to it?
Sure. As you mentioned, I'm involved with the One Spirit team now as a first-year dean, so that's exciting. And that's just a blessing. And the second thing for my own personal ministry is I work in animal chaplaincy. So I work with the four-leggeds and the six-leggeds and the finned and the winged and the slithering and all of those folks, and they're humans. So that has a couple of different pieces to it. The first one is animal advocacy. So that's working on behalf of animals that have no voices, whether it's through legal or fundraising or different pieces to work on those things that are happening. And the second thing is working with the relationship between animals and their people. And so in some cases, in a lot of cases actually, that has to do with grief and loss around pets. Planned euthanasia, I go with people for those moments to do rituals. Anticipatory grieving, all of those pieces that we have a lot of support for when it's our human family that we're losing, but not so much sometimes when it's a pet, right? So I can provide those services. And also the joyous services of if someone gets a new animal, brings it home, you want to do a ritual with the kids to kind of solidify the family and this new member of it. That's another piece. And then the last piece is what I like to call loving the lonely, which means I go to animal shelters and I sit with animals who are often called unadoptable, right? They may not have they may be sick, they may be old, they may not have a chance to have the forever home that some of the other adoptable pets are. So I help them with their spiritual needs, which means sitting with them, patting with them, talking, listening to them purr, just giving them a little time as well. So it's a really rich chaplaincy and really is something that I enjoy greatly.
That sounds truly beautiful. What have been the greatest gifts of your work?
Wow, I think it's a new perspective on everything. The ability to do this work with animals isn't something that I knew even existed. I was this kid who came home with little dead animals I found on the side of the road and stuck them in my lunchbox and forgot about them, and my mother would scream, "Oh my God, Sarah, you brought home another animal to bury." And, you know, I've been doing that since I was 6. And I still do. We have a good mouse graveyard in the background. But right out that window. But I didn't really know how to take that love and that caring and how to make it into something. And that's what One Spirit did for me, was to help me figure out, how does that become a ministry? How does this great love and caring and compassion, how do you put form around that and make that what you do on a daily basis? And so that's what I do now.
Sounds like it was really a transformative experience for you and for your ministry as well. How have you stayed connected with your classmates and with the other One Spirit graduates?
Oh, I try to do that as much as possible. When I found my people, I didn't want to let go of my people, for sure, right? So there's the online stuff we have now. We have a class Facebook page, there's a One Spirit Facebook page, there's an alumni group. So all of those things, getting involved. But I also feel like I need personal interaction with folks. So I do a couple of things. I like to keep tabs on my fellow classmates and when they're running retreats, or if they're preaching in a pulpit, or if they're doing some sort of workshop, and I go. If I'm traveling, we made a class map for my class with the location of where we all live. And so if I'm on a trip or a vacation, I figure out who's nearby and I call them up and say, "Do you want to have lunch? Do you want to have breakfast?" And I just drop in on them. So that's been really neat. I was just in Chicago with a friend. I've been out to New Hampshire for a yoga retreat. I get around a lot. And then I think another thing I do is random mailings. I love to keep Hallmark in business. And so I grab a couple of note cards and I just mail them out to classmates and say, "Hey, I'm thinking of you." Which may make me a little odd, that's true. But when I connect deeply with people, I want to stay connected.
That's a truly beautiful idea. I hope more of our graduates will follow your lead and do that from time to time. Can you tell me what's next for you? What's coming up in your ministry and your life?
There's a lot coming up. Obviously, getting involved even deeper with One Spirit, with the deanery and the first year dean classes and all that comes with that. That's really excited to connect on this level. My animal chaplaincy work will continue at the same time. I have space for both. And in the spring, my next book is being published. And so this summer, there will be a national book tour. And then I'll pop in on the rest of those classmates I haven't seen yet either.
That sounds truly amazing, Sarah. And thank you for taking time to share your experience and your ministry with us. Now that we're almost out of time, do you have any final thoughts that you would like to share with the graduates or with our other viewers?
You know, yes. And actually, that is the word yes. One spirit taught me to say yes. To say yes even when I was uncomfortable, to step into new spaces. And when I did say yes, I was rewarded in the most beautiful ways. So I think that if there's anyone watching this video who's a little nervous about applying or wondering what their next step is, to really sit with that idea of what happens if I say yes.
That is
It leads,
wonderful.
yeah, I think it lead, you know, there's a mystery in the world and we've got to take the steps forward towards it.
Sarah, thank you so much for sharing your experience and your ministry with us. It has really, really been a pleasure talking to you, and I am looking forward to seeing you around the halls of One Spirit.
You got it. Thanks, Richard.
Thanks.